I said to Dave, at the end of the day, you've got to put things behind you. If you want to move on and meet new people, then that's the only way it's going to happen. If you sort of dwell on the past too much, and you get like bitter and sort of live in the past. You've got to live in the future. You've got to think, what are my opportunities now? How can I move on from this? How can I build from this? How can I you know how am I going to move forward in life? I mean, if you're stuck sort of in the same situation and you're not really trying to move from that, then the likely thing is that you will just stay still. If you don't change your actions, then the outcome will be the same. But if you say to yourself, listen, I'm going to change my actions, I'm going to try to pursue my dreams, I'm going to treat people better, I'm going to have better relationships with people, then that's likely to be the outcome. But if you say to yourself, listen, everything's sort of gone horribly wrong in my life, and I'm going to continue to do the same things and to make the same mistakes and have the same insecurities and fears, then most likely what's going to happen is life will just stay the same, and the changes that you want to happen, the improvements in your life, are not going to take shape. They're just going to, and you're going to continue to sort of bang your head against a brick wall and think, how come things can't change for me? Why is it that I'm stuck here and everybody else seems to be moving forward in their lives? So you have to sort of send that message through to people that they can't expect to get up in the morning and think, I'm going to do exactly what I did yesterday when everything went wrong, and expect a different result. You've got to say, right, well, where did I go wrong? You've really got to look yourself in the mirror and say, maybe I made mistakes. What did I do that was wrong, that I could, improve upon, that would make me a better person? Not just for everyone out there, but for myself, so I can actually get what I want out of life, so everybody basically can benefit. Whether it's all them out there who are criticising you and all of a sudden thinking, oh, he seems like a nice bloke, that's great, but it's also for yourself. From a selfish point of view, you will then start to gain more from life. You'll have better experiences, you'll meet better people, you'll start to achieve a lot more. Whereas if you stay in this negative mindset of everything's always gone wrong for me, basically everything I've tried my hand at it has fallen apart. If you continue to think down those lines, then yeah, of course. But if you wake up tomorrow and say, tomorrow, what's in the past is in the past. This is a new day. This is a new start. I'm gonna think about every single day. What can I do differently? What can I do that's new? That's something that's going to take me out of my comfort zone. That's going to really help me to fulfill my potential, rather than just staying sort of comfortable and thinking, well, I don't want to take too many risks. I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to upset anyone. I don't want to expose myself to scrutiny and to being criticised. So instead, I'm just going to sort of remain where I am, and that's fine to remain where you are if you're happy. But if you can't, if you still feel like I'm not happy, I'm not actually getting what I want out of life, I'm not achieving what I want, and I'm sort of envious of what other people are achieving, then you have to say, well, right, in that case, I can't sit back and think I'm going to continue to be fearful and not to take any risks and to make the same mistakes again and again. If you're not happy, then that's when you have to reevaluate and say, what is it that I'm going to do differently to make sure that I'm on the right sort of path to being happy. And sometimes you've got to be patient and know that it may sort of take time to change the habits of a lifetime. and then eventually you will get there. But it doesn't happen overnight. Not really. I don't think real, genuine change for the good will happen that easily and that quickly. But there are steps that you can take every day. Every day there are steps in the right direction that you can take that eventually will lead you to where you want to be. Whether it's to do with your talents, your passion, your relationships, with the opposite sex, with family members, with friends, whatever it is. The only way all those things which sort of come under the same umbrella, and the only way that all those things are going to improve for you, the only way that you're going to be a happier person is effectively by that. Is by continuing to examine when things have gone wrong. There's no point in living in the past and having regrets, but also saying to yourself, okay, it's not the end of the world. What happened was a mistake, but how can I go about it differently? How could I have dealt with the situation differently? You can't deal with what that person did because that's them, but you can deal with yourself, and you can say, what can I do differently? What did I do wrong? Where did I go right, and where did I go wrong? And how can I improve upon how I dealt with a certain situation? And you can do that. You can do that. But you've got to be prepared to criticise yourself as well. And I think there are too many people, certainly, that they don't really want to really look inside the mirror and say, you know what, I'm not perfect. I've made mistakes. It may have been partially their fault, but it's also mine. A lot of people, they claim, oh, I'm not perfect, but actually, if you talk to them, they kind of they're very reluctant to actually take the blame in situations and actually say, you know what, yeah, I was to blame for that, and I misled someone, or I was dishonest, or I let somebody down. They'd rather sort of deflect the blame onto the other person, and I'm sure a lot of the time that, yeah, of course, the other person can be to blame, but more likely, more often than not, you yourself would have also played a part and would also have done something wrong. Even not necessarily intending to cause harm, but miscommunicated something or held something back that in the end came back to haunt you, and came back to really affect your relationships. And you think, I've got to stop that happening again. And the way you stop that from happening again is by being brave enough and being reflective enough to really look yourself in the mirror and say, wow, that was a mistake, and I don't want to make that mistake again. I hold my hands up, and I claim responsibility. It's my responsibility, and next time I think I'm certainly going to try my best to deal with that differently.